So today I am going to, I found that it's easier for me to get anything done if I break it up into little pieces. Like if I start thinking about everything that needs to be done, I get overwhelmed by it. But if I just say, well, I'm just going to do one little thing today, then I can get things done. Now here is this 65 Chevy 283 engine. It's on a pretty nice stand. It actually looks like it might be a pretty cool place to crank it right on that stand. But doing so would involve having me squat down, and my old knees are pretty bad. So what I see a lot of my friends doing is they put them up on these engine stands and they crank them on that. Now, that's always made me nervous, because them engine stands always look to me like, boy, it'd be pretty easy for just when you're running that and the torque spins that around, and it seemed like it'd be really easy for that thing to topple over. So I've always been a little nervous about doing that, but I'm going to try to overcome my nervousness. I've got an engine stand out there in the side garage, and so my thinking is what I'm going to do today is back the hot rod up, Studebaker, get that engine stand, bring it in here. There is a big nail up there where that welded helmet is hanging, and it's strong enough to have lifted that Cadillac engine with the whole big Dynaflow transmission on it and everything, which could have weighed. That was a cast iron, huge cast iron transmission. That could have weighed 700-800 pounds. I don't know. So I'm pretty sure it'll lift that little 283 Chevy engine. So what I'm probably going to do is back the hot rod out, get the engine stand in here, roll this thing over here, lift that engine up, and get it on that stand. That's going to be the first thing I'm going to do. The second thing I'm going to do is, well, I mean, I'm going to squirt some oil in the cylinders and do some things like that, but I'm going to put a starter on that, and we're going to start spinning it over. I'm going to see if I can check oil pressure and compression and stuff like that on it. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. But first things first, and the first thing is getting that on the stand. So I think I'm going to do that first. So now what I used to do is just raise this with a come along. I've got this little winch. I got two winches. I got one back here. It's a 9,000 pound winch. You can probably pick the Jeep up with it. It's back here on the floor. And it's big and it's heavy and it's awkward. So I went on and found a small one here, 2,000 pound winch, which is way more than enough to pick that motor up, but no farther than I need to pick it up. I may just use my come along, just because, my come along, all I got to do is hook in one end up there, throw a chain on this, hook the other end, and jack it up. Whereas with this winch, I need to figure out how to set it up and get me a battery, and I don't know. If I had it set up in a place where it's right there and I can just hit a button and raise and lower it, that'd be one thing, but since I got to figure out the hydrodynamics of the operation, I may just use my little come along. By the way, there's a hole in the floor right here. That hole in the floor is where the front shaft of the water pump that used to be on the Cadillac engine that wound up in the rat rod went through it when I was building an engine cart for it, and the engine cart tipped over, and that engine did a nosedive to the floor. And the front shaft on the water pump is about like that shaft right up there, went through the floor. So, little reminder there of past engine fun that I've had out here. So I think I'm going to put this winch away. I'll probably lift this manifold. I don't need that manifold on there, and it's just sitting there anyway. So I'll probably lift that manifold off of there and give me a couple of bolts in the heads. Pick this up. Kill y'all. Okay, so just as I was saying that, I broke my camera, knocked it off this bench here. I got two cameras like this. They're both pretty fragile, and so what I'm going to do is I've actually ordered up a new action cam from DJI that's kind of like the GoPro. It's supposed to be rugged and kind of unbreakable. But I'm just too hard on cameras to use these ones. And I've got a free warranty on my camera that I just broke. It's supposed to repair it free if I break it. So probably what I'll do is dig that out and send it back, see if I can get that one fixed. If I can, I might just sell it when I get it back. But we'll see about that. So anyway, That's why I have two cameras, so if I break one, I still have one to work with. So I will get on with this. I got that beam up there, and as I'm pulling on the beam, I'm looking at it, and I can see that the beam, which is basically a big old, what is that, a 4x4? It goes across up there. The beam is not attached to that plywood piece that's behind it, which is also a beam of the building. And I'm thinking if it was, because I see the beam coming down in front of that piece of plywood, but plywood gives a lot of rigidity to something. So I'm thinking if I shot some big screws through that beam and into that plywood, that would just make that a little stronger. Also, I want to get my engine stand and attach the part that goes on the back here, so that when I pick that up, all I got to do is slide it into the engine stand. So in the interest of not breaking y'all like I did that last camera, I'm just going to cut the camera off, go get that engine stand, and come back. So I'll do that.